Yeah. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It is the 12 Rounds Podcast. I'm your host, Meji. And today we have special guests in the house, Tejano Outlaw. Two of the members of Tejano Outlaw. We have Joel. What's up, Joel?
Good morning, Mark.
And Anthony.
Good morning.
And why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves and what you play in the instrument and your part of Tejano Outlaw.
Well, good morning to everybody. My name is Joel Garcia, and I'm the accordion player for Tejano Outlaw.
Yeah.
And one of the original members.
Members.
Well, founding members.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
And my name is Anthony Antunes. I play bajo, sexto. I play guitar, and I'm the lead vocalist as well.
Yeah. So you said one of the original members. So how many other different members were there?
Well, over the course of 10 years, you're gonna pick up people and you're gonna lose people.
Yeah.
So me and Joel are actually the ones that started this.
Yeah.
It's been about 10 years, hasn't it?
Something like that.
So the other three guys we have now have been with us for a few years now too. So it's pretty much set.
Nice.
But I guess the better word would have been founding members.
Well, 10 years is a long time to be involved in anything with anybody. It's basically maintaining a relationship, you know what I'm saying? And like a lot of people don't understand what it takes to kind of hold those relationships together, whether it be, in music or in business or whatever. Well, especially in romantic relationships too. These days, man, like it's just everybody reverts to divorce and I don't need no man, I don't need no whoop. You know what I'm saying? Everybody does that. So much respect, man, for you guys holding it together for so long.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
I wanted to get into kind of the origins of Tejano Outlaw and when you guys started and kind of what drove that passion.
Well, about 10 years ago, there was so we had a gig before we even had a band.
Yeah.
So about 10 years ago, I got a phone call that there was a big spring show coming up, Tejano's spring show. And I had actually been playing norteño with a band from Burley. But me and Joel had been talking probably a couple years before that, right?
Yes.
We had talked about getting something started. And I remember I told the radio station, I said, hold on, I said, save a spot. We're gonna do it.
Up. I'll be back.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. We just don't have a band yet. So
dude, that's a lot. So hold on. I don't have a band yet, but I'll be back. I'll call you back in 10 minutes.
That was pretty much it. Yeah. And I called Joel and we talked and called a couple other guys that we know and had a meeting in his garage and kind of an open jam session and said, all right, let's do it. And it was only that one show, right?
Right.
So we got together in probably about this time of year, wasn't it? January?
Yes, it was like,
early in the year. And practiced a few weeks. And then our very first, we played a Valentine's gig at a little restaurant in Nampa. The main reason we did that is because up to that point, we had just played in his garage. We hadn't played with any equipment, any PA systems.
So
or
no
like that.
monitors, no.
Yeah,
nothing.
so we did that just for a trial run, so we can get ready for the big show coming up. And after we played that spring show, the phone calls started coming in, and I think by midsummer, I think I had played more than I had played in the last 3 years as far as live shows. Don't you think? I mean,
after that, we started going.
Yeah,
snowball effect.
It started going.
Kept running. So we've been very fortunate. Both of us come from pretty large families, and the support, of course, starts with the people closest to you.
Yeah.
So your friends and your family, and that support was evident from the very first show at the restaurant, right?
Probably.
Yeah. So, we've been pretty lucky. But it's been a fun ride, and we've been able to travel and hit some different places and play different areas, and even made it down to the motherland, San Antonio.
Yeah. What's beautiful, man, about music too, man, and family, is that, and our culture too, man. Like, we're driven by it. You know what I mean? Like as kids, we grow up going to like quinceañeras and just basic family functions where everybody's dancing and there's always music and food. You know what I mean? and I think too with our culture, it's easy to support. When the family gets into something like that where they're playing and there's dancing.
That's one of the main conversation pieces we get into with these families. We play a lot of weddings, a lot of quinceañeras, family reunions, and that's one of the bigger speeches, I guess, for the lack of a better word, that I always give is this is family music. We grew up. You know how to cumbia. Who'd you learn from? What you learned when you were 10 years old, probably, maybe even younger.
Yeah.
So the very first live music I ever saw was, being at a quinceañera or a wedding too. And then Joel has been probably playing that, since he should have been dancing, but he was already playing.
Music, for us, it's been in our blood.
Yeah,
I have nephews, cousins. They're, really good musicians, and I have respect for them. My dad, my brothers. So it's just on me.
So I wanted to ask you, Joel, just like I was saying, like music is a big part of our culture. When you did you start playing music because of a family member? Did like your parents play music at all?
My brothers, and actually, Mark, I was a drummer.
Nice.
I was a drummer, and we're from McAllen, Texas, and
RGV.
There you go. So the drums, and where we used to live, right across the street, there was my cousins and also musicians, and seems like every evening they had something going. So I was like 6, 7 years old.
Yeah, down in the valley. Down in the valley, it's like that.
Yeah,
man.
And I would just go across the street and be with them, and they were jamming. So I was like 16, 17. Back in Nampa at the Rollerdrome, I heard this accordion player, Juan Villarreal, Los Cachorros, and I thought, man, how does he do that? And then I went to the accordion.
Yeah.
I went to the accordion.
Even as a kid, like even my children, dude, it's air accordion all day. You know what I mean? When the Tejano music comes, you can pick any instrument you want, right?
Yeah.
But everybody always does the air accordion, and I'm badass at the air accordion.
There you go.
So you guys need an air accordion player?
Yeah,
I'll get down, dude. Sometimes I even move my head like this.
I was gonna say we might need you to stand next to Joel just to do that. We got to get him moving a little more.
It is a big part of our culture, man, and I wanted to talk about that too because I think it's important. We're North, man. You know what I'm saying? And you guys are playing Tejano music, and I'm not saying like nobody listens to Tejano music up north, and it's far fetched or whatever to even play Tejano music here, but there isn't really a lot of Tejano bands that get down like with Tejano. Mm-hmm. A lot of them will play some Tejano songs and then jump over to the, more of the regional type Mexican music, and but your guys' stuff is you guys play all the Tejano hits, man. And do you think it's crazy that, or do you think it's crazy that as many people this far up north still like enjoy Tejano music and will come, like, because you guys can pack in the house, huh?
Yeah. No, I don't think it's weird. I think it goes back to what you're talking about, to what we originally started talking about about being family music.
Yeah.
So another thing that I've noticed is there's a pipeline, man. There's a pipeline, I don't know, maybe more here locally, Burley, Idaho, Pocatello, Burley, that highway all along there, you go through, Glenn's Ferry and Mountain Home, and then you hit Boise, Nampa, Caldwell. And then you get up to Washington and Oregon. I got family up in northern Washington, Mount Vernon, and along that highway, Yakima Valley, right? Yakima Valley, we played at. And it's funny because we don't play a lot in Boise, but we play a lot in Nampa, Caldwell.
Yeah.
So when we go to Washington, you don't play a lot in Yakima, but you play a lot in like Sunnyside and Green River. So like those smaller communities where people kind of settled, and I think it goes back to the agriculture.
So you guys ever play in Moses Lake?
I have. We haven't as a band. No. But I got some good friends of mine that play up there.
Yeah, I know. There's a huge Latino community in Moses Lake.
Yeah, I was working up there for a couple of years, and there absolutely is. Yeah. There absolutely is, and there's good musicians up there too.
So my daughter's grandfather grew up there.
Okay.
And it's funny because he knows a lot about the culture, man, and he talks about tortillas and eating beans and tortillas and stuff. So
here's some coincidence. So I've always knew how to play guitar. My dad taught me how to play guitar growing up, but I learned to play to the oldies, the Beatles, Freddie Fender, Johnny Cash. I got into Tejano when I was about 18, 19 years old, but I didn't know any Tejano musicians, and so I never played. And when I moved to Moses Lake and worked up there for a couple of years, there's a friend of mine, the Rochas, Tejano Skies are up there. And he was the first one to put a bajo sexto in my hands and say, here's the difference between a bajo sexto and a guitar. And
That's
that
crazy.
was, that was in like 2009, I think.
Wow.
2010. But so it could almost be said that I learned how to play bajo sexto in Moses Lake.
Nice. So why don't we explain to the fans and the people listening what the actual differences are?
The best way I can explain it is the bajo sexto is a cross between a bass and a guitar. It's kind of in the middle on the deeper things. So,
and it's 12 string, right?
Well, that one's actually bajo quinto. That one's 10 strings. So in the olden days, when they just used bajo sexto and accordion and no other band members, those deep strings worked as the bass, and then the higher strings was the guitar. Nice. So you get that boom, ching, ching, boom, ching. And through the years, they added drums, they add bass guitar. You don't use it like you used to, so they can shrink it down to 10 strings. So
that's crazy, man. What about the sound though?
I think it's still got that acoustic sound.
Yeah,
it's still got the acoustic guitar sound. I mean, you have to have that because otherwise you lose the original sound of the accordion with the bajo sexto.
Yeah, yeah. Like for me, like when I hear the bajo sexto, it's like, it's like as far as the tone goes, I think it's like a little bit more ringy or.
Mm-hmm. The strings are doubled up.
Yeah. I don't want to say tingy because tingy is not a really good word for a guitar, right? You don't want a guitar to be tingy, but like, that's the difference when I listen to it too. But that's crazy, man, because most people think you just get a guitar and have your guitar player with the accordion and you're good to go, but it makes the difference, huh?
Yeah, it's not a guitar.
It makes the difference. So. All this, boils down to like, preserving our culture. And I was telling you, I really wanted to get into that, and what it means because playing music is playing music, when you go out and it's basically to get people together and you're having a good time. But like, the hardships like that everybody went through and these playing music and getting together and dancing and having fun was the release that, Chicanos, Tejanos, Mexicans, like all of us, that was our thing.
The weekend release.
Yeah. And so like doing that is preserving our culture and helping the youngsters see that, this is still, very prevalent and still, you ever think about that?
All the time. Like I said, we explain to people when we're up there that one of the reasons that we love this music is because it's family music.
Yeah.
Joel talking about his learning from his family and when people see us up there, they might see me playing this instrument here, but they don't know that they don't even know to ask if it's a guitar or bajo sexto. Yeah. It's this instrument right here that gets people.
They want to know.
They want to see that accordion going, and they want to. That's what makes it unique, and that's what makes it different.
Well, when you're up there, man, do you ever feel like you're running the show? Like
it's a good feeling.
Feel like the star.
It's a good feeling, Mark, when you see all those people having a great time and really enjoying our music and them having fun. It makes you feel good.
Let's talk about a little bit how you grew up, Joel.
Well, like I said, Mark, we're from El Valle, McAllen. And like everyone else, they come back and forth for migrating for work and then go back home in fall. But around 1970, we remain here in Idaho, in Caldwell. And we used to go over there back home every 2 years, visit families. And I still have family over there in El Valle. So, and then here in excuse me, in Idaho, we just settled in, and I started playing music about 12 years old. But it was on me, I had a toy drum set, and I really took care of it. And it was the drums. It was the drums, Mark. And but we always had an accordion and a guitar laying around.
Yeah.
And like I said, it just came natural. And the little tips from my brother and friends. Hey, can you do this? Can you do this? And slowly. And we used to go, parties, like Anthony says, parties, quinceañeras, weddings. And the first thing I would look at, who's playing? The musicians. And, keep an eye, at the guys that are playing. And it didn't take me long then I was up there too.
Nice. So I always found, like, with me, I grew up as a visual artist before. I've always had love for music too, but I grew up a visual artist, and the reason I took to it so well is because I felt like it transported me away from, like, the daily issues. Even as a kid, like, we all go through stuff, right? We all go through whatever it is. Was that music for you, or did you have another sort of artistic outlet?
Well, like I said, Mark, music was always in us. It was one of those things that, made us happy, and made our days, get by with joy.
Yeah. Nice. How about you, Anthony, man? Was that, sort of did you have any sort of outlet? I mean, people think as kids, like, we grow up and everything's, like, hunky-dory or whatever. I was watching this study about, and I never knew that I did that until recently, that I used art as a kind of an escape to get away from, like, whatever it was that was bugging me as a kid.
Right.
But I was watching this study, man, about how kids do. I mean, they have like a lot of stresses on them. You know what I mean? Even though they're kids or whatever. Mm-hmm. Did you have a outlet like that for?
Yeah.
Before it was music, or was it always music?
No, I didn't even. The first time I played live music, I was 40 years old.
Oh wow.
Well, I shouldn't say that. As a kid, we had a little kid band that for a little bit, me and my brother and sisters, it only lasted like a year or two. But for me, it was baseball. I was a baseball player.
Yeah.
It was,
yeah, you did, huh?
Yeah.
Didn't you coach too?
I've been around it for my whole entire. See, people don't realize, they see me out there with music and they think my life's about music. But my first love and my passion is baseball and sports in general.
Let's talk about that, man.
It was, I back in the 80s, early 80s, there was actually a Little League program in Canyon County or in the Treasure Valley called Chicano Little League Baseball.
Oh, nice.
And it was no 10U, 11U, 12. I mean, it was 9 through 12. And not only that, but it wasn't sanctioned. They didn't check birth certificates.
Yeah.
We didn't know who we were playing against, how old these kids were sometimes, And it was played in the summers. And the guy that started the league, the reason he started it was for the families that were coming back and forth, migrating and working. And so it gave the kids something to do here. And a lot of good baseball players actually came out of that league. But one of the things I kind of like to say is baseball almost raised me. I always looked forward to going to baseball. And then, as you know, growing up, we're going to hit those crossroads. Am I going to go with my friends and possibly get in trouble and not be able to play baseball, or am I going to go to practice and make sure I'm able to play this year? And I always picked baseball. And I saw the repercussions from some of the ones that shied away from it, and so I have a great appreciation for it to this day, because, like I say, I feel like it was a big part of raising me, and then coming from a big family that also, my grandpa played baseball, my uncles played baseball. It's just something I still like to take a lot of pride in, and even when I coach, I try to coach up the gentleman side of things, tuck in your shirt, pull up your socks, conduct yourselves in a manner that people will appreciate what you're doing and look up to you out here. So
to me that's big, especially when it comes to coaching. I always wanted to do like the big brother type thing, you know what I mean? Because I always feel like there's not enough children that have good role models, and you as a coach too.
Yeah, I never thought about that. I never thought about the big brother stuff because my first option in life, adult life, was I wanted to be a baseball coach. I wanted to be a high school baseball coach, PE teacher, but I wasn't a very good student. Another career path I thought about was juvenile counseling, probations, the kids that we grew up with, kids that we knew that we can relate to, trying to help that out. But again, I wasn't a very good student, and I couldn't have got through the college that it required. But the big brother things is awesome. The
college things, man, dude, it is taxing, dude. So I did college later on, because as a youngster, I never took education serious or whatever. Yeah. So, and then having children early on in life. But I mean, to me, that's why I always feel like I would like to, or that I would be good in a role like that, because I went through it and I understand like the ways or the routes that you can take that will, be easier to change when you're younger than they would be when you're older. But college, dude, I'm with you. Like, there was so many times, dude, I'm like, I'm done with this, and luckily I had a lot of support between friends and family that, I finished and went and got my degree. But
oh, nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
good accomplishment.
Yeah, it was hard, man. It's not.
I don't think I could have done it.
Yeah, well, bro, just like I said, if I wouldn't have had the support that I did, especially Joey Bravo was one of my biggest supporters, dude. Like, he sometimes I would just, call him up and see what's up, and he'd be like, "You all right, bro? You sound like, you're all without or something, And I would tell him, dude, I'm just burnt out, like, trying to do, because, once you're an adult, you know what I mean? Like, I was still younger, you know what I'm saying? So I still could, work and then stay up until 1 a.m. doing my schoolwork and stuff like that. But working and going to school, most college students still have to do that regardless. Right. But I also had other responsibilities too. Right. I had children when I was, younger. So, still trying to take care of my children, being a husband, and all that stuff. So, yeah, I don't ever like look down on anybody or anything when they say that they can't get through school because of the pressure, because it is a lot, dude. And
you're paying for it.
Yeah, and you're paying for it. And you know what's even more funny is that they treat you like you owe them everything. I'm like, oh, hold up. If we think about this in just freaking simple logic, right? Like, you're my employee, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm
paying you.
You don't tell me nothing. Yeah. I tell you. Yeah. But it's not. The roles are reversed still. Yeah. So ultimately they do that to to help you get your butt in gear. But
legally we may be an adult, but we're still kids at 20, 21, 22 years old.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So the coaching thing is pretty admirable, dude. Freaking. Are you still coaching now?
I do. I haven't been as active involved, but I belong to the Nampa Pal Boxing Club.
Oh yeah.
Again, I love working with the kids. It's just something I've always enjoyed doing. My daughters went back to playing softball, so we haven't been around the club quite as much. But yeah, there's a thing where there's not a thing in the world that's better than having what you think is a stranger walk up to you and say, "Hey, coach," and you don't recognize them because now they're grown up, but you coached them when they were 12, 13 years old. It's just it's a really good feeling, and especially when you see that they're doing well.
Yeah, I just want to go off the subject real quick and say thanks to Nampa Pal, because you guys are big supporters of the 12 Rounds Boxing Apparel. One of my business colleagues was there shooting some video not too long ago, Mario Nolasco.
Yeah, I saw the pictures.
Yeah, and seeing everybody rocking the 12 rounds gear in there, I was like, man, That's awesome. Dude.
You know, and it's in an old warehouse too, to where on camera it probably looks great.
Oh, dude, it's amazing, bro.
Yeah, it looks great in the background. Boise State's boxing club comes and practices there. And one day the coach brought his wife. I think she's a teacher getting ready to retire, and Italian lady.
Oh, nice.
And I remember
did she have the accent?
She did.
Nice.
She did, yeah. And she says, "Wow, this is really nice in here." And we're looking around at the old chipped bricks and walls that need painted. And she's like, "It looks like Rocky Balboa," is what she says.
Yeah. Wasn't it in the mall for a minute?
Yeah, it used to be in the Karcher Mall.
Yeah, in the Karcher Mall.
Yeah.
Which is not even really a mall anymore, huh?
I haven't been in there in years. I don't think I've been in there since we moved locations. But when my son started boxing, we were at the Karcher Mall.
Yeah. So the Karcher Mall, for all y'all that don't know, is a mall in Nampa, and it used to be just right next to a huge field. That's all it was next to it. Across the street, there was a Wearmart, which now is Winco. Wearmart used to be the store, and Wincos are spreading. Like there's Wincos in California, so all you.
His son is a district manager.
He's manager. He's managed overall here.
I mean, people that work for Winco do well. You know, like you can get into some pretty nice figures in.
They do a good job of promoting within, right?
Yeah, and they share. They have company sharing or what is it, stock sharing or whatever in the company. But so it was crazy. Do you remember Wearmarts?
I do.
Yeah,
and I remember. Well, back when the Karcher Mall was there, Karcher ended. If you're coming from Middleton, it ended at the Boulevard. You couldn't go up the hill and catch a freeway and go to the Targets and whatever else is up there now. That was the end of it.
That's crazy, huh? Yeah. The only reason I remember is because we used to walk across that field, and there used to be a ditch along that whole way, and you could get to the mall in the back, like instead of walking the road where that stinker is, because that was Karcher Road, right? You could go back through the field and then come out on the backside, and then go to the mall there.
We lived on the north side of Nampa, to where we'd follow the railroad tracks.
All the way,
yeah. All the way. And then Sunday was the hangout there. Yeah, probably could have had Tejano music there on Sundays. All the raza used to hang out there on Sunday afternoons.
Yep, Sunday. Yep. I think Sunday is still a day for the raza to go and go to church and then go shopping. Yep. You know,
or barbecue in the front yard,
or all three. You know,
get the instruments out.
Yeah, and it's crazy, and it's crazy to see everything the way it is now. Like. Just like I was saying, even for the people that are listening, everybody probably is experiencing this in their town too, where they've had a kind of a space in town where they used to go all the time as kids, and now either it doesn't exist or it's changed so much that it's not even the same. But that's the Karcher Mall for us, where just like you said, it used to be packed. Remember, like you could go back. It was like the Bon Marché and like all those. And now you go in there and it's like smells funny and and there's like maybe like 2 or 3 like weird boutiques or whatever. And it's not a huge mall, but it's not a small mall either, you know.
It's a strip.
Yeah. And there's so many other things that have come in all right next to it. They built this thing called the Spectrum, which is just a whole city block where it's entertainment and restaurants and stuff like that. So, yeah. And then they used to have a Kmart right there. Remember?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. The Kmart. Does Kmart still exist?
Not there. Not at that one. Not at that location.
Dang, that's crazy, man. We were talking about coaching and why we went up. That was some ADHD moment right there, bro.
I got it too. I was following you.
I know, but it's weird, right? How just things change like that, and I think that it's like that with our lives too, man. Like it's one thing, one moment, and then the next things are unrecognizable, you know. But I guess that's a nice segue back into the coaching thing. Is like. You teach these kids and you coach these kids, and then they grow up and they're unrecognizable to you, but you've affected them. And sometimes I know, like with me, with some people that I've had in my life, I've affected them too, and they've affected me. You know.
Yeah. And then on the flip side, it's hard when you see the ones not doing so well. You're like, man, if I could have only got him to practice one a little bit more, if I could have been his ride to pick up, and would it have changed So there's two sides to everything.
Yeah, and it's easy to beat yourself up for that kind of stuff too, because you feel somewhat responsible for that stuff,
That's one of the reasons you're there, right?
Yeah.
Help the kids. So.
Yeah. And just like with baseball with you, it was like that with boxing for us, to all of us, all of us Garcia kids. But did you ever do any sports, Juan?
No, not really, Mark.
No?
Not really. I was a lot into music. Music was my favorite thing.
Just consumed you, huh?
Yeah.
How about any other hobbies besides music?
Not really, Mark. Not
Just
really.
straight music.
Yeah.
Working.
I mean, it's
Working.
work.
Yeah, work.
That's a story of our lives, man.
Yeah.
Just, as long as we have, those vices, those kind of releases, you know what I'm saying? And music is definitely a good one to have, because it's one of those ones that it never ends, man. You're continually learning, like, especially just with basic art, any art form, you're always learning. Like, you can never really master anything when it comes to art.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's people's perspective, right?
Yeah. I feel like it's one of those things that's always pops up with something new, and teaches you something all the time whenever you get into it. Like, I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? You guys were gonna do a Valentine's show yesterday and had to cancel. And you guys canceled it and out of respect and out of love for a friend. How about I give you guys a minute to kind of address that to...
Did you go to Caldwell High?
I did.
Did you know Elizabeth also?
I don't remember her.
Okay, I think she was younger than a few. She was her name was Elizabeth Gonzalez. She was a supporter of Tejano music in the most right way that you can be. She didn't pick sides. She didn't pick cliques. She didn't. I don't think I've ever heard her say a bad thing about anybody. There was another dance that was supposed to go on that same night, and they had canceled before us. Also, I guess they got the news before us. And she was a sponsor of that event. She sponsored many events. She sponsored some of the events that we took part in. She comes from a great family. I'm friends with her brother and her sisters, and my mom knows her mom, and kind of struggled with it a little bit on what to do, because she was a sponsor of the other dance that was supposed to be going on. They had canceled because they knew what was going on with her, and we didn't. And all of a sudden, 2 days before we're supposed to go on, we find out what's going on, and so we just felt like it was the right thing to do. We felt, and not only that, but I think it would have been difficult for us to go up there and play, and
It wouldn't have been the same.
Yeah.
With that, I want to say I really appreciate you guys being here today. I know we kind of talked about giving you guys, opportunity to reschedule and continue addressing your stuff with Elizabeth. But I really appreciate you guys coming through and making it, coming through after all. So with that, what do you guys got coming up next?
What do we got? We got Tree Fort.
Tree Fort will be next month.
Yeah.
Tree Fort. Is this your guys' first time at Tree Fort?
No, we played last year. We were supposed to be there the year before that also, and then our bass player got COVID. Was it that morning or the morning before?
That same day.
That same day,
That's
right?
when we got the results.
Yeah. Yeah, that morning. Well, that's right, because we were at his house a couple days earlier. We were practicing, and then he had said he wasn't feeling good, and that morning we were supposed to play. We were actually supposed to play Tree Fort in Boise on a Friday night. And then the next day we were going to go to Pocatello to play for, what were they having, like a taco feed event?
Something at the park,
the
festival.
Portneuf Theater.
Portneuf.
So we had to cancel all of that. But we did play there last year. It was a lot of fun.
I want to hear about that, because so for people that don't know, Tree Fort is a music festival here, but it's
a big festival.
Yeah, it's a big festival, but it used to be kind of like known as like a hippie type of deal,
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of want to hear about you guys' experience last year.
Well,
because
it's not a fiesta. It's not any kind of Latino based event. It's so I think they have over 100 bands that come. They got stages spread all throughout Boise, the downtown area. Once again, here's where we're lucky is we have great supporters that come out and watch us play. So we had a pretty good base of people that were there.
Nice.
But I guess one of the funniest stories I could say is, do you remember the guy that was watching the door that in the back as we were coming in, he's checking wristbands and we were trying to carry it. And we thought that, man, this guy's kind of taking his job too serious. He's not too friendly about things, you know? But anyway, after we got done playing, he was the first one that came up to us and he goes, man, that was so cool. I've never seen anything like that. And so the people that have never heard that music before, there's a lot of people at Treefort that haven't heard our music, our style of music. And it goes off real good. And then not only that, but we try to do our best to, Tejano music. Tejano's English and Spanish. And so we try to do the Texas Tornadoes kind of stuff where you can sing in English. There's a handful of English Tejano songs you can sing out there.
Hey, baby, ¿qué pasó?
There it is. That's one of the ones, man. And then not only that, but everybody loves cumbia. So we try to play a lot of cumbia.
And then even once if they don't know what cumbia is, and you say, hey, this is how you dance it, and then they're like, ooh, I want to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it went real good.
Yeah, the kids, man, real quick. That's the first one they learn, man. Or that's the first one I learned too, as a kid.
Yeah.
So with that, I kind of want to transition into your guys' other thing that you got going on, which is Richie Valens tribute band. You guys do a tribute to Richie Valens, right?
Yeah, that kind of came out kind of weird too. They had an oldies show here not too long ago, and the promoter called us saying, hey, I've been thinking about doing this Richie Valens tribute. You think you can do it? And that wasn't really Tejano Outlaw. That was kind of something separate. Two of us were in Tejano Outlaw that did that originally at the time. Mm-hmm. But this time, so we're going to be at the Lowrider show in May. I think it's the 27th of May, Expo, Idaho. And they want both some Tejano and some Richie Valens oldies. So we'll do.
And that's the one with Baby Bash is going to be there, right?
So Baby Bash and DJ Yella will be out there.
Nice.
And so so we're going to play. Half our set will be the Richie Valens tribute, and then the other half we'll throw some cumbias and rancheras out there.
Nice. But isn't that what a crazy kind of mashup? Combo, what I'm saying? Like some Tejano out there with at a rap concert or whatever.
But when you think about the way you grew up, it's really not that weird, is it? I mean, you grew up to oldies in the house as well as Spanish music in the house, so it seems weird, but it's not as weird as you would think. Yeah.
Well, I mean, as a promoter, you don't really think about like, let me throw, Rob Zombie up there with, Michael Jackson or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like those different genres. I mean, that's kind of extreme, but you never think about that. Okay, so I didn't mean to go stop you that far, but so you guys got Treefort coming up, and then what else?
We'll go to Billings. We go to Billings, Montana every year, and people say, Billings, Montana. I'll tell you what, that's one of the funner shows of the year that we do.
That's a big highlight for us.
Yeah. So, and then for all the local people listening, the best show and the funnest show we do around here is in Caldwell. We play at the Indian Creek Plaza, so we'll be there out there on Cinco de Mayo.
Nice.
And this year it lands on a Friday, and last year was on a Thursday, right? Thursday, and it got crazy. So it being on a Friday, man,
party time, puro party.
Yeah, so that's a good one. That's a good one. Those are probably our top ones of the year that we do as far as public events. Well, we can't leave out the small town stuff that we do.
Yeah. So Weezer.
Yep. So Weezer has a Rock the Park 4th of July thing that Weezer's really come to. And our drummer, Emilio Huertas from Weezer, and he brought to us the Weezer crowd, or I should say took us to Weezer. And so we actually have 3 gigs out there in Weezer this year.
Nice.
But we have the Rock the Park in July, and then in August they do like a street
dance.
Yeah. And then we have a quinceañera later that year too. And then another one that we did last year was Nissa, Oregon.
How's that? There's like 3 people that live in Nissa, dude.
So you'll think this is funny. The people that hired us in Nissa, so they have this, it's called a Thunder Egg Festival. Is that what it's called? Mm-hmm. And I guess there's this rock in Nissa, Oregon that's only there out of the whole country or world or whatever. You can find this rock in that area. So they have a festival, and it's just, like you said, small town, little people. So when they hired us, before we even got on stage, he said, save this date for next year so we can hire you. And we're like, he was already happy with the amount of people that were there that came to hang out with us. And so before we even got up there and played a note, he was already booking us for this year.
Nice.
So we'll be there in Nissa. I think those are the only 2 small towns we do. But as far as private events, we go to Burley almost every year. We go to Pocatello. There's times we'll be in Othello, Washington.
Oh, nice.
So Othello, Washington has a Latino softball tournament up there in August every year, and it's a big one. When I was living in Moses Lake, I played in it.
Nice.
And it's fun. And they have mariachis on Sunday morning. They sell menudo at the concession stands.
Everything you need, huh?
Yeah. So we'll be out there in August. I think it's the 25th. Does that sound right?
Something like that.
Yeah. And I think that's our only trip to Washington this year. And then I think this is our only trip to Oregon this year. But
nice.
Next year, we're going to try to get back to San Antonio, we hope, for fanfare.
Yeah. So. Well, the more that the COVID thing is kind of getting thrown by the wayside, the more and more things start getting back to normal as far as like
for sure
doing events and stuff like that. Because there for a minute, man, it was nothing, dude.
I know.
Even as an artist or whatever, like as a visual artist, because it was still hard, man, to get work, dude.
Well, there was a few events that we played masks on, right?
Oh yeah,
there was a few. I mean,
singing through the mask.
Well, I didn't wear one.
Everybody's like, "Hey, how come he doesn't have to wear one?" He's like, "I'm the singer, fool."
Well, again, it's all by choice, right? There's one certain quinceañera that we played for that we even wondered, man, should we be doing this right now?
Yeah,
it was fresh out the gates of when we did go through that hard time. But I think 2 of the 4 guys on stage were wearing masks, and of course you have to make sure everybody's comfortable with it first.
Yeah.
So if they wouldn't have felt comfortable playing, then we would have had to.
No, it's created some trauma, man. To in America, mm-hmm. I was standing in line day before yesterday, and the dude that was standing in front of me, I mean, he was a youngster too, man. But he was standing like 10 feet away from the person in front of him. Mm-hmm. And I still try to keep, within the 6 feet, you know what I mean? So I was within that, kind of realm or whatever of 6 feet. And he did look back at me, and he was like all asustado, dude. Like I was too close to him, man. And I could tell right away, why he looked back at me. And like, I'm pretty good at picking up,
right,
physical cues, you know what I'm saying? So I let him step up, when it was people were moving up, I let him step up, and I stayed kind of back from him. But, yeah, like it's crazy how much, it's been affecting everybody still after 2 years later, Yeah.
And that's I try to be courteous of what I've never been. My personal feeling is I've never been too overly concerned with myself about it. But if you want me to wear a mask when I'm sitting next to you, I don't mind doing that. For you. I don't mind doing that for you. But
yeah, at that time too, I was traveling a lot, dude, and so like being on the plane with the mask on.
Oh yeah.
Well, actually, your whole trip, dude. You know what I'm saying? You can't take it off at all. So by the time you get home, nombre, you got freaking. Dude, it's bad, dude. Babas all over the place. It's like you got group pimples there and freaking new mustache,
like a teenager again.
But yeah. So for the people that are watching, we're gonna break real quick. So we have a special performance by these guys, and for the people listening. It's gonna feel like nothing ever happened, and we'll be right back with some Tejano Outlaw. Go ahead and introduce this song, Joel.
Okay, Mark. This is a polka of my tío, Tio John Garcia, also from McAllen and lived in California. But he made this little polka called La Mala Ficha. Here we go. 1, 2, 3,
Yeah. For all y'all that don't know, now you know, man. Hell yeah. Thanks for sharing that with us, guys.
Yeah,
thank you.
Why don't we go ahead and give the people listening your handles, how to find you, how to book you, your Facebook, your Instagram, all that stuff.
Yeah, well, one of the things I always like to joke about is I always say that we have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram page, but I don't know how to work Snapchat or Twitter, so we don't have any of that kind of stuff. But what's been the most popular for us is Facebook. We have a Facebook page under Tejano Outlaw. It's got our contact info on there, numbers, how to get a hold of us, or you can just message us on there. We also have an Instagram page. You can leave messages on. I don't know if people have pens and papers with them right now, but
we'll put a link. We'll put a link on too on the video. So
okay.
Anybody who's watching the video,
and I'll leave a phone number for you on that, and you can put that on there.
Yeah.
But,
and you can say it out loud to the people listening right now.
So to call us 208-392-0561. We play for almost any kind of party that people want to throw. We've been very fortunate to one of the funnest things to see is to see how different families celebrate their quinceañeras. So we've played for, remember that girl that rode in on a tractor? We played out on the, it, I don't know. It felt like we're in the middle of a cornfield, but they had a house in the middle with a nice yard. We played on a flatbed trailer with bales of hay around us, and the grand entrance was on a flatbed trailer. We played for diverse crowds, people that have, one parent's white, one parent's Tejano, Latino, and that's where the Hey Baby Que Paso songs come in real popular, and the Freddie Fenders and the Richie Valens, and then we mix it in with what we do, and family reunions. What's the weirdest thing we've played for? Can't think of it. Yeah.
Everything's been fun.
Yeah. Birthday parties, 60th birthday parties.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right, man. Well, thank you guys for coming on the show, man. This has been awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
Once again, it's been Joel on the Garbanelli accordion.
There you go.
Before we go, let's share with everybody a little bit of the family stuff that we have going on here too.
Oh yeah, so Anthony and I are cousins. If you guys want to, and a lot of people trip out when I tell them, yeah, that's my cousin. They're like, what? That's your cousin? Yeah. Man, those guys are bad. Because these guys locally, for the people that aren't from here or whatever that are listening, the Tejano Outlaw is a big deal around here, and they do well if you ever get a chance to see them perform. Not only do they create the vibe, but freaking phenomenal musicians.
Yeah, thank you.
And
Thank you.
Anthony got that golden voice.
I don't know about that.
But yeah, so Anthony and I are cousins, and I just found out that Joel is compadres.
David Senior is mi padrino.
Oh, so my grandpa is Joel's padrino. So, and for people that don't know, that means like godparent or yeah. So we're all connected, man.
Yeah,
you know,
somehow, some way.
And it's funny. And that's life too, man. You know, like in some way, somehow, like we're all connected. You know, and if anything, we're all connected with the strain of love. So.
Well, you talked about the 10-year relationship, how hard that is to maintain in any form of life. So, you know, these blended families it's the new standard. It's the new America. You know, it's common. It's not.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And Anthony's mom and my uncle David are champion menudo makers. So if y'all ever in this area, you guys can come and get some menudo the way it's supposed to be done, Texas style. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody got to see
I
that,
know,
right?
you know what I'm saying? Oh, and then the tacos, dude, forget about it, you know? But, yeah, so thank you guys for coming in.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, until next time, y'all.
See you guys again.
Yeah, it is the 12 Rounds Podcast. Yeah.